I'm Scott Mitchell. I'm one of the videographers and the photographer here at Try Digital Marketing. And today we are going to be teaching you how to film your very own client testimonials. Now, testimonials just across the board are one of the biggest recommendations we make to our clients. We know how important it is and how it can result in direct ROI. There's nothing better than when a client has great things to say about you and your business model. What we've done for you today is develop 3 different packages of what you can use on the run pretty much in any situation to film your very own client testimonials. So the first price bracket we have developed for you is really easy entry-level stuff because everybody has a phone in their pocket nowadays, and those phones are actually very adept at shooting video. Now, what I got here is a Samsung phone. Doesn't matter what kind of phone you have nowadays. You just need a phone that can shoot HD and also get a little bit of audio in there as well. The real bulk of the importance is what your client is saying, and that needs to be clean, clear, and crisp. So for that, we actually have a lavalier microphone, which is essentially what I have on me right now. It's just a nice little small mic. You can attach it to clothing. You can hide it easily in pockets. And it's, they can have varying cords. 4 feet's about the average cord length. So one of the better and more used lavalier microphones that connects to a cell phone is made by Rode, and they make a lot of audio gear, which is great. That means you have great customer service and you have just reliable stuff. It's called the Rode Smart Lav Plus. Really easy. You plug it into a recording device. That can be your phone. That can be something like a Zoom. That can be something like a really cheap digital recorder. Whatever has an audio jack and is capable of recording, these will work with. So the general price of these mics is somewhere between $20 and $60. Really low investment for pretty clean audio, which is really important. Audio gear can get really expensive, so being able to find a budget solution to your audio needs, hands down, one of the most important things. So here you can see the lavalier being put together. It's pretty simple. You just take your lavalier, you attach the clip to a piece of clothing near the mouth. You want to be within about 8 to 10 inches of their actual mouth. And once you get that attached, you'll plug it into your cell phone that you're recording on. You'll open up your recording app. In this case, we use a Rode recording app. And you will be ready to go. Just tuck the phone away and any excess cord in a pocket and settle them in and get them ready. So you have your cell phone, you have your lavalier mic. So you're holding the cell phone with your hand, you're interviewing them, and this can last from anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes, depending on what you want out of the client. And after 10 minutes, holding a cell phone steady without noticeable shake, wobble, it gets a little tiring. So what we really recommend you get along with the lavalier mic is we recommend you get something like this Joby little cell phone tripod, kind of a knockoff of a GorillaPod. And what's really useful about these is, first off, it's about 7 inches long. You have a nice semi-deep pocket, stuff it in there, it's with you for the rest of the day. You don't really notice it. You can pull it out, and here we go. This is the cell phone on the Joby tripod using the lavalier mic by either Movo or Rode. Basically, you'll be able to see this is what we consider a typical office environment where you're not in a corner office, there's no windows, you're working with purely overhead artificial lighting. And this is about what you can expect from a new smartphone. In this case, we got the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. It's got a good lens, pretty good at shooting in low light, as you'll see through the video. And you'll be able to compare and contrast the audio coming from the phone and from the lavalier mic, so you can really get a sense of why these lavalier mics are important. So this is going to be your indoor scenario for a cell phone. And this is a pretty ideal scenario, really bright, open space. If you're dealing with scenarios like this, cell phone's going to perform spectacularly. But, the onboard mic is still going to be picking up too much ambient noise, which is why the lavalier is just always going to be your go-to sound. So if this is all you deal with, maybe you never need to get anything but a cell phone for your testimonials. Ooh. So this is going to be the cell phone in ideal conditions outside. Obviously the light's a little harsh. You're going to want to avoid that sort of lighting with your testimonials. But the image quality is going to be crisp. It's going to have good contrast, good color. And the audio quality is going to suffer a bit because we're outside. Luckily the wind's kind of died down, so onboard audio is probably pretty clean. Lavalier mic is probably totally usable. This is a great scenario for a cell phone. You're not going to feel like you're really losing much if you're using your cell phone in this case. So really good setup right here. You got your phone, which we're not even going to count this. So you got about $30 if you go to Best Buy and pick up this Joby, and you got $30 to $60 for a solid, pretty reliable, easy to carry around lavalier mic. You're looking at something between $60 and let's say $115. So for your second price point, we've got something with a little bit of variety. There's generally about 3 different cameras you can use at this price point depending on what you're doing. And what we recommend is something like a GoPro, an action camera. There's a lot of knockoff brands of this now. You don't have to really drop $300 to $400 premium for a GoPro anymore. Something like this is a flip. These aren't made anymore, so if you do want to get one, I think the best one is 1080p. But if you do want to get one, you can find one on eBay for pretty cheap, just for the fact that they're not made anymore and not supported. These things really easy to use. You got your power button. You've got quick USB connection for transferring files and data. And it's got a tiny little screen on the back, but it's good to have something to look at just to make sure your framing's good. And then the last option, which we don't really have something here to show you, but it's something along the lines of a Canon PowerShot. And that's just a simple point and shoot camera. Something with a tiltable LCD screen is preferable, but if you just have a simple point and shoot camera that's capable of recording HD video, that's really perfect for this price point. The great thing about this price point is you don't necessarily have to get another tripod, depending on what you're using it for. And if you do end up needing something better, there are pretty cheap, pretty good video tripods that you can pick up at places like Best Buy. This guy is a Sunpack Ultra 6000 PG. Nothing really beats a dedicated tripod like this, especially something with a spreader. That just means whatever you attach to this, as long as you aren't exceeding the payload of the tripod, which you're not going to exceed the payload of a tripod with anything we're recommending here. It's not going to get knocked over. It's not going to fall. It's not going to topple under its own weight. And you can really just set it up wherever there's a semi-flat surface, which is just, it gives you the security you need when you're filming on the go. The same lav setup we mentioned before works. And you know what? The same lav setup is going to work throughout all price points. So really, if you plan on doing testimonials at all, just get a Rode or a Movo lav mic that connects to your cell phone. They're just invaluable. Now, when you're dealing with dedicated cameras like this, things that aren't attached to your cell phone, things that you're not attached to 128 gigabytes of storage or 3,300 milliamp hours of battery, that means you have more to keep up with. There's a little bit more responsibility involved. You gotta have some kind of recording media card to put things on. Alongside that, you get a lot more range of where you can use these devices. The GoPro is about as limited, maybe even a little more limited in where you can use them than a smartphone, just because the sensor's small. It's a it's a really fixed lens. It's an action camera, and that's okay. GoPros are good because they're an affordable method of recording that doesn't require you to sacrifice your phone. So if you have to be doing other things on your phone, if you just don't want to use your phone for the recording, a GoPro is a good, cheap option to that. And you're going to notice the onboard microphone's worse. So you're still going to want to use the lavalier. And the image quality is, it's a little noisy indoors, but once we start getting more and more light, the GoPro will perform better. And it's a little bit wide angle, so do keep in mind it's not the most flattering camera to use for these things. So, set them back away, because you'll notice if you get close to the camera, it'll stretch the face and it'll do just weird things to them. So set them up a little further back. It's okay if they're waist up or more. You just want to be as flattering as you can. So this is going to be your indoor office environment for your GoPro. And this is about as much as you can hope for from an office environment. There's a lot of natural light. There's a lot of even lighting. There's a lot of just nice scenery. So a GoPro's wide angle lens performs pretty well here. You're getting a lot of beautiful information. The audio is still going to be useful. So you're going to want to use your lav as always. And it's just, if this is all you're shooting, really any of these 3 camera recommendations will work just spectacularly for you. So this is going to be the outdoor scenario for the GoPro, and this is pretty ideal as far as GoPro image quality goes. It's going to be bright. You're going to get a pretty clean image out of the GoPro. As you can see, it's a little bright on one side of my face, so you do want to be mindful of where you put your testimonial subject. I always recommend put them in a shaded area where there's pretty even lighting across the board. Now the audio, you got to be mindful of it outdoors. Sometimes it's too windy and the lavalier will even not pick up clean audio. Onboard mics are pretty much a no-go when you're outdoors because it's a just completely non-controlled environment. But you know, this is a pretty good scenario, clean audio, clear day. GoPro should do pretty well. So when you're looking at investing at this price point, looking at getting this gear, you're looking at somewhere, if you go on the low end, say a GoPro with the same Joby tripod, you're looking at about $250 to $350, depending on what version of GoPro you get. If you want to do a more dedicated camera, if you want to do a Canon PowerShot, or even something a little less than that, you start getting into $500 to $700 range, everything told. Which you know is not bad. Even if you only use that setup a few times a year, that really does save you money while also getting you the testimonials that you so desperately need. So at the most expensive price point we're going to recommend today, we're going to recommend something with an interchangeable lens system. And with items like this, with technology that has more moving parts, it becomes a little harder to use. You're going to have to study up a bit, you're going to have to get familiar with your gear before you just run out and use it. So if you're looking for something that you pick up, you know how to use right away, this might not be for you. But if you're looking for something that gets better quality and lasts longer, this is great. This is a great price point. So what we have here is we have a Sony a6000 series camera. This is an a6500 in particular, but you can find an a6000, which is basically the same camera, for $500. You can also buy something like a Panasonic brand or a Olympus brand camera. And those cameras are going to be small form factors at even similar price points to this guy. So you're looking at an investment from the camera side of about $400 to $1,000. And you know, a little more expensive, but really for the type of image you're going to get, for the type of reliability you get out of this, it is worth it. So if you do buy something like this, you're going to have to buy a lens as well, something that attaches to the mount. That can vary anywhere from $100 to $300. We really do recommend this if you're shooting testimonials regularly. If you foresee yourself shooting a dozen, 2 dozen testimonials, this camera is just going to be your workhorse. Now, with this camera, you can't use something like the Joby tripod. You don't get a skimp on the peripherals here. So instead of looking at $30 for the tripod, you're back up to $80 at least. Something like this is pretty much the bare minimum we recommend. It's just a good, reliable tripod. $80, you can do a lot with it. It's got good control. You can pick it up at Best Buy. So if you are getting a camera at this price point, we recommend you get some lights to bring with this camera. And this one's a little aperture, tiny light. It's about 3 inches by 2 inches, fits in a pocket super, super easily. And running you about $60, this light has got everything you really want out of an LED panel. It's got power changing. You can shift the power to lower or higher. And it's got, you know, a charging option, which is easy to charge on the go. You can charge this thing with a micro USB cable, which means if you have a power bank with you, you can keep it charged no matter where you go. And that's really great. Everything we're recommending to you is kind of sans cords. We don't want you to have to deal with cords. We don't want you to have to deal with weird power sources. Anything like that just makes it more complicated. So this is going to be your indoor lighting scenario for your interchangeable lens camera. And this is a pretty typical office environment, you know? It's got overhead lighting. It's got a little bit of mixed light up high. There's a natural light coming in, and there's just tungsten light all around me. And you're gonna notice that the interchangeable lens camera handles this really easily. This is like an ideal situation. You can push and pull these things so many different ways and they'll shoot very well. The audio's still gonna be pretty bad. It's too far away to be capturing clean audio right now. And the lavalier mic is just, it's gonna be your audio for this. Beyond that though, this is going to give you just the greatest image you could hope for in this price range. So this is going to be the indoor scenario for the interchangeable lens camera. Really bright space, open. So it's going to give you a great image quality. You can't really beat it. But, you know, onboard microphone's still not really working for us. So lavalier, always, just keep driving this home. Always go with the lavalier. It's gonna give you better, cleaner audio. Things you'll notice here though is that the image quality is gonna be spectacular. There's gonna be more background separation than compared to the cell phone or the GoPro. I mean, if you have the money, it's gonna give you the best image quality you could hope for. So this is going to be the outdoor scenario for the Sony interchangeable lens camera. It's a little windy out here, so you're going to start to notice just how much of an effect wind can have on your audio. Just try not to record outdoors if it's a very windy day or there's traffic nearby. You're not going to get the best audio, and that's always the most important things in these testimonials. But, you know, in this case, the image quality is great. Just make sure, never sacrifice your audio quality for your image quality in these testimonials. So all told, you get a lens, you get the camera, you get an extra battery or two depending on what kind of camera you have. You get two 32 gigabyte SD cards to have with you. You get a nicer tripod. All things told, you're in for about $1,200 to $1,500, which, you know, for something like this, if you're only looking to shoot client testimonials and just be ready to do that whenever the time may arise, $1,200, not a lot of money. You just get great quality images. You get good quality sound with the lavalier mics that hook up to a cell phone. Just taking the time to actually buy equipment which supports you, which helps you to shoot these things better, it's gonna set you apart from your competition. It's gonna make your video testimonials so much more impactful. Now, if you are getting to the point where you're shooting a lot of client testimonials, you have big budget clients, you want to impress them, maybe you should still use a filming crew. We wouldn't have a job if people didn't need stuff like that. But if you're using this for run and gun use, if you're taking this with you, if you're stopping by a client office on the way home from work or anything like that, really something like this, something you can do yourself, something that fits in, you know, a small suitcase, something that you can just bring with you on the go, that's invaluable, and it saves you a ton of money in not having to pay a crew to do something small. So we really hope this helped you. We believe that video testimonials are one of the most powerful marketing tools you can use for your business. So whatever your price point, if you're just starting out with this, if you got a business and you're willing to dump a little bit of money to make your videos look better, we hope that this helps give you some guidelines. Now, if you have any other questions, if you would like to see more content like this, please comment, subscribe, show us what you really like to hear about, because really doing this all for you, we want you to get useful marketing tools out of everything we do here at Tri Digital. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you keep tuning in and, you know, hit the subscribe button. Show us some love in the comments. Thanks, guys.